How you going?
Good. You're looking very business-like there with the whiteboard behind you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a shared office space and it's pretty fancy. It's really, really cool. I'll show you. It's got this
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
really cool rooms. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And look at the
Yeah.
lighting.
Oh, it's fantastic. And there's all these plants and we're on level. We can choose between level 32 and 37. So we're on level 35 today. And it's just a beautiful view of Perth. It's great.
Yeah, that's the way. It's nice when you've got scenery too, right?
Yeah, I love it. I've always wanted to work up in a really high office building.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm from the country, I'm from the bush, but I just love cities. I love being in the city and working in an office and stuff like that. But then I also love getting out of the city and getting out to the country. So
yeah, I totally get. I'm from the country too, so I love the country.
Where are you from?
From Geraldton. But
nice.
Yeah, so I love, and in between living in Geraldton and other areas, I've lived in a lot smaller places as well. So it's along the way. So you really get to appreciate the quieter places.
Well, I had a read of your website. What you're doing is amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, I wish we met 17 years ago when I started to have issues. And, one of the biggest things for me has been changing my own understanding of what it means to be a man. So I used to think that being a man was gritting your teeth and pushing through as much stuff as you can. And I've kind of changed that. I did a post on it a long time ago, and I've changed my opinion of it to now being a man is doing whatever you have to do to be in a good frame of mind for your family and your friends.
So,
I feel like a lot of what you do is that.
I think it has a lot to do with self-compassion, right, as well. I've always had a really close connection with men, even when I was younger. Always have been. They've always been like my best friends, and always had really incredible conversations. Like the guys would all be sitting there drinking, having their chats, and then they would all leave, and then I'd be left, with one bloke sitting there. And that's when we would have like real conversations, right, about what was going on in their lives. So I guess it's just come naturally for me to do what I do, and I really love it.
It's awesome. Yeah, I bet you do. It's a very, what's the word for it? The world needs it. The world needs it, especially at the moment. Everybody's feeling like they're under a lot of pressure. And anything that we can do to take that pressure off people somehow is a worthy cause at the moment.
Yeah, I believe so too. And so, like your story, because I know some of your story, but I'll get you to chat about it here because we're recording this. So
my story starts back in 1994. I was I grew up in a town called Newdigate, which is around 400 kilometres southeast of Perth. So the best way to explain it is that it is around halfway between Perth and Esperance. So the southwest of Australia kind of dips down, and then there's that corner, I guess you could call it that corner down near, is it Margaret River and Augusta and all, I think that's down on the corner. And then it hooks around, and Esperance is obviously 300 or 400 kilometres further east. So halfway between Perth and Esperance is a farming community, a wheat and sheep farming community called Newdigate, which is in the Shire of Lake Grace, which is, I ended up moving to Lake Grace at the age of 9, but I grew up there. And my journey with anxiety started at the 1994 Newdigate Primary School Athletics Carnival. And I was in line with all the other kids my age, waiting to run the 50-metre sprint race. And as we got closer to our group being called up, our age group, I started to feel sick. And I was 7, so I didn't know what it was. And as we got closer and closer, it just started to overwhelm me. And we were next in line to go up, and I got up and I ran off to the bathroom. I couldn't handle it. And I went to the bathroom and just started vomiting over and over and over and over until there was basically nothing left. That yellow stomach bile.
Yes.
That's all that was coming out.
Yeah.
And, it's quite painful vomiting that hard. Your head,
it is.
kind of the stress in your head, and your eyes start watering and they're red and bloodshot.
Yes.
And then I was in there for a few minutes and then I couldn't vomit anymore because there was nothing left.
Yeah.
And I got up, went to the sink and was washing my mouth out. And then I realized that the race would now have been run and I wouldn't have to do it. And I just felt so relieved.
Yeah.
I just felt this wave of relief wash over me.
Yeah.
Almost similar to, we'll get to it later, but taking a muscle relaxant, Valium, temazepam, diazepam, those things, how they would make me feel when I had anxiety. Just take this weight off. And it was very short-lived because I walked out of that toilet block a couple of minutes later feeling really good because the race would have been over and I didn't have to worry about it. And my teacher was standing there and I looked straight past. I didn't even look at her. I just looked straight over her shoulder. I could see that they were waiting for me.
Oh.
And it just came back. It just flooded me, and just this anxiety, just performance anxiety, just gripped me.
Yeah.
And she said, "What's wrong?" And I didn't know it at the time, but my answer to this question would kind of dictate my mindset.
Yeah.
And start this trend of dealing with this on my own and not telling everyone, because I said nothing. I said nothing's wrong. I just need to go to the toilet.
Well, when you're that young, you don't know.
That's
don't
right.
Understand what's going on. So.
And that's right. And I was 7, and by the time I worked out what was actually wrong with me, I was 22 or 23. So it took a very long time. So as a child, that anxiety slowly infiltrated different parts of my life. I developed a few nervous tics, having to sit still in class all day and always being anxious kind of evolved into different tics and body movements and things that I guess would allow me to expend that energy a little bit, which might have helped.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 17 in my final year of school, I'd been vomiting before big life events, so exams, games of sport, for about 2 years.
Yes.
I think 2 years. But then when year 12 came, I had a breakup with a girl. I had year 12 I was stressed about. I got drafted into the AFL football system. It was all too much, too much. And if we look at instances which typically give us anxiety, they are things that are either too much, too soon, or too fast.
Yeah. So
those 3 things. And for me, it was all too much, too soon, and too fast. It was just, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
It's my way of dealing with it. I was quite a deep thinker. Yeah.
Something, I'm not sure if it's your thing, but it's like clicking lots.
Oh, really?
Is it that? Or unless there's something on the table.
Is that better now? Or is it still clicking?
Yeah, that's good.
So by the time I was year 12, it was all too much. And I started to, my way of dealing with things was to think about it.
Yeah.
It was I was a deep thinker, always was, always have been, always will be.
Yeah.
So it was to think about it and to try to solve it by thinking about it. I was a natural warrior. My grandmother used to say to my mother when I was 3 or 4, "You've got to keep an eye on Mitch because he's a warrior.
Yeah.
He worries about things." So I was always that way inclined, but I could kind of handle it to that point. The vomiting wasn't a huge issue. It was just before events.
Yeah.
But then slowly throughout year 12, I started to struggle.
Yeah.
Struggle to sleep, struggle to go to school, and then started to withdraw. So stopped answering my phone, replying to texts from friends, stopped doing sporting events, pulled out of football, pulled out of cross country. And I started to withdraw and spend a lot of time in my room on my own.
Yeah.
And then when I got thrust into the AFL, it just was too much. It was too much. And something that's
a big jump, right?
Yes. For anybody, let alone someone who's starting to struggle with anxiety. So that really quick shift from my anxiety only being kind of performance related to slowly working its way into my life, and then bang, this thing was just that it was just a performance once a week was now my full-time job. And that really sent me over the edge. So that next few years was really interesting. I was trying to play AFL football. I was playing a lot of reserves football, but I was falling apart. My relationships, which is what life's all about at the end of the day, is your relationships with family and friends and community. They were just deteriorating at a rapid pace. And I knew there was something wrong with me. This was the funny part about it. And I would constantly go to my football club doctor and ask to do blood tests. to find out what was wrong. I thought I had dengue fever or malaria or chronic fatigue. I knew something wasn't quite right, but we couldn't put a finger on it. And this was in 2004, so 2005. So it was before mental health was talked about in the manner that it is now.
And it's so exhausting, right? Like the damage that it does to your body is massive. So it's like, I could just imagine what it would be like for you. Yeah.
Well, what happens is when we get anxious, we're effectively turning on the fight or flight system.
Yes.
Now that system takes all the energy and resources and blood and oxygen from our internal organs and sends it to our extremities, to our muscles, to prepare us for one huge battle. So we stop digesting things properly. The oxygen levels in our blood change. Everything gears up for this big battle, this big fight, or this big effort at running away from a predator. Because this system was designed a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And when we don't do that and we stay in that state, we're just burning energy.
Yeah.
We're just burning energy constantly. And so when you go to do something that requires energy, you don't have the energy you would normally have. That's right. Because how we perform in life is we perform and then we rest.
Yeah.
Sleep, perform, rest. It's this constant like this. So I knew there was something wrong. And each time the blood test would come back as negative, I would just get upset. And this went on for years and years. I was trying to play football. I was doing my best, but really, really struggling. Yeah. And then one day I had a poor me moment. I had this moment where I'd played a reserves game over in Melbourne. My opponent had just, taught me a lesson, but I had no energy. I couldn't fight the fight that I used to fight. When I was a kid and I'd play footy, I used to love it when someone would come and man up on me and try to, I'd go, all right, here we go. Yeah. You're in for it. And I would just go and go and go. And it might take all day, but I'd grind him down. Well, I just lost the energy to do that. Yeah. I didn't have the energy to do that anymore. People would just push me around and I couldn't fight back. Yeah. I had a poor me moment and I said to the psychologist at the Richmond Tigers, where I was at the time, why do I have to go through this? It's not fair. Yeah. Why do I have to vomit every day at this point? I can't sleep. I'm manning up. I'm playing against people who are, just fit and, they're not having these issues. It's not fair. Yeah. And he said, how long has this been going on for? I said, oh, well, since year 12, 5 years. And he said, wow. He said, talk me through it. And I talked him through it. And he just said, I cannot believe that you are pushing through that every day. He said, Mitch, do you know what anxiety is? I'll never forget him asking it. And I said, no. And he said, you have anxiety. You have really, really bad anxiety. And I went, yes.
Oh, thank God, I know.
Yes, I know what it is now. Now that I know what it is, I can fix it. So I call this period of my talk in the talks that I do on my journey with anxiety, I call the first section WTF because I knew something was wrong with me, but I wasn't sure what it was. I call this section yes, ... no. Because I quickly went from being very enthusiastic, and a lot of this resonates with a lot of people who have issues. I quickly went from being very enthusiastic to trying everything, medications, antidepressants, benzodiazepines, muscle relaxants, all this stuff, psychologists, psychiatrists. It was just this 2 or 3 year journey of just constantly trying different things to make my anxiety go away. And it never went away. It never got better. And so I started to feel worse about myself. My self-worth deteriorated. And then at the age of 25, I overdosed on a very, very heavy antipsychotic medication. Now, they give antipsychotic medication to people that have severe anxiety because one of the side effects of it is it boosts production of a neurotransmitter named gamma-aminobutyric acid. Now, they that call that neurotransmitter our mind's self-regulating psychologist. It calms us down. When this chemical is released, it is a suppressant. So it stops other neurotransmitters, adrenaline and cortisol and things like that, from being overproduced, and it naturally calms us down. So they give it to people who have severe anxiety. It is not the type of medication you want to be on when you're playing AFL football. It has intense side effects, one of which is with about 20 minutes notice at various points throughout the day, I would start to get tired and I'd have 20 minutes to get home to go to sleep. So it wouldn't matter what I'm doing. So if it was happening right now during this conversation, I'd have 20 minutes to get from where I am to somewhere where I could sleep. And then I would fall asleep for 3 or 4 hours. I couldn't control it. And I was trying to play AFL football. So I was training And then I'd feel it. I'd quickly run. I'd wave at the fitness guy, and the fitness guy and the coach were fantastic, I should add. And off I'd go. And luckily I lived in Richmond where I was training, straight home, into bed, asleep, out cold. And it was infuriating. It was killing me. I was trying to live my dream of playing AFL footy, and this is what I was going through. So I decided one day to take more medication, took too much, overdosed, woke up, horrendous experience, went to ED, saw the nurse, told them I'm never, ever taking another drug for anxiety again. They warned me against it because it's such a heavy medication. It takes, time to come off. It had taken me time to get up to that dose, build up to it. I told them I wasn't going to ever take a medication for my anxiety again, and I never did. So I went home, I lied naked on my bathroom tiles for 24, 36 hours. I didn't move. So I think it was for one day, so one night on my bathroom tiles. I got up the next day, went to a GP. He gave me a huge amount of muscle relaxants because I was flying out to go on a preseason training camp. And I just had to take these muscle relaxants like they were Tic Tacs to get through the physical withdrawals of that drug. But I'd promised myself I was never going to take another drug for anxiety. But I'd been through the psychologist system. I'd been through that system and that hadn't worked. So I tried a few different online courses and seminars and things like that. I think there's one called the Linden Method. Can't remember the exact name of it, but it was very expensive and I personally didn't get a lot out of it. I did a few different things and then I just gave up. I gave up. I thought, well, I can't fix it. This is it. I've got to live with it. It was interesting. I was in the newspaper a couple of months ago with what I'm doing with Mr. Anxiety. And I was looking up the last time that I was in the newspaper, which was 8-9 years ago. And one of the first lines they wrote in that article was that I was admitting that this issue of anxiety is going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'd given up. I'd given up. And when you give up and you're in that much pain, you see your body as a human being, we can't live in that type of pain. We find a way to numb it. We just can't do it. We're not built to endure pain like that day in, day out. So naturally, like anybody in that situation, I started numbing it. 6 beers turned into 12, turned into abusing Valium and those type, temazepam. Then that turned into other drugs and other drugs. And it just turned into this spiral that I went on where I was just trying to numb myself with drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex, anything that made that anxiety go away. It wasn't a conscious thing. It wasn't like I went, I want the anxiety to go away. I'm going to go do something stupid or put myself in a state where I can't remember anything or I'm numb. You just naturally do it because it hurts so much. You just naturally do it. When you're in that much pain every day from the minute you wake up, by the time you get through to 5 o'clock at night, you can't endure it anymore. You need to have a beer, and then you have a couple of beers, and then that's not enough. So you start looking for other things. So that went on until 2018. I had a really messy breakup. And for the first time in my life, when that breakup occurred, instead of getting angry at myself and chipping away at my self-worth, I just make sure that's not clicking. I decided that I was going to get angry at my anxiety. I decided to start blaming my anxiety for what had done to my life. And that's the best thing that I ever did, because that started this whole project that this mission that I've been on for 2.5 years, where I've just been trying to understand what anxiety is and what it is happening in my body. And once I actually started to understand that and understand how our mind and our body work together, I started to see opportunities to improve the way that I deal with it. And I started doing that, started feeling better, started to get on top of it, started to live a normal life again. And I think that's the aim for anybody that has chronic mental health issues, is just to live a normal life again. I can remember 2.5 years ago, that's all I wanted, just to be able to walk down the street and not worry what people thought, to be able to answer my phone when someone rang. That's all I wanted. These things that I couldn't do, to be able to sit on the train and open my eyes. Couldn't do those things. So I started to be able to do those things again and went, wow, I can't believe I've been living my life like that. It was really sad. But I think naturally when anyone goes through that, they want to help other people who are in the same position.
Absolutely.
So then here I am trying to do that. And that's kind of led me to where I am today. So running seminars and an Instagram page and stuff like that, where I share what I've learned and how I deal with anxiety.
Yeah, that's awesome. And with that that process, like what were some of the things that you were telling yourself, you know, as you were starting to transform, like how, you know, like now when you're sitting on the train, say, or whatever, you know, like what were those first steps that you would be saying to yourself? Because obviously, you know, when you're like in deep anxiety, right, it's manic. It feels very, very manic and terrifying. And so, and your thoughts are just like going a million miles an hour of panic. And then, you know, when you actually get to slow yourself down, what are some of the things that you actually noticed that you were saying to yourself that kind of helped you through?
Well, the biggest thing that I've learned, the most important thing that I've learned throughout the entire process and the journey that I've been on in the last 2.5 years is that the thoughts, the anxious thoughts,
yes,
they're not the issue.
Yeah.
They're the symptom. So
Yeah.
the real issue is not being able to sit with uncomfortable feelings.
Yes.
So what happens is we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind.
Yes.
Our subconscious mind is doing everything that you don't consciously have to think about. So digestion, breathing, heart rate, you know, all this stuff. It's constantly taking all this information to make sure that we stay in homeostasis. So in a state where we're kind of saving energy so that we can stay alive long enough. And the thing is that our conscious mind basically only deals with what we're paying attention to.
Yes.
You know, and us talking to each other helps us to not crash our cars and a few things like that. So it's nowhere near as powerful as this part of our brain that controls everything without us knowing about it. That part of our brain's job, and this is the definition of it, is to ensure that we react to situations the way that we're programmed.
Yeah.
So what happens with our anxiety is something happens which is too much, too fast, or too soon.
Yeah.
And we aren't programmed for it.
Yeah.
We aren't ready for it.
No.
We're not ready for that. And that can just be life, by the way, because comparing yourself to other people and not feeling like you're living a good life, that can be too much.
Yeah. Yes.
That realization can be too much for people. So what happens is once something like that happens, we react to it.
Yeah.
We react to that thing.
Yes.
Now, that reaction is what causes our issues, not the actual thing.
Yeah.
So we're scared of that reaction. It's uncomfortable. And then what happens is we start to worry about the situation and what that reaction is.
Yeah.
And then what happens is because that part of our brain's already, the automatic part has already prepared us for that event.
Yeah.
When we go and worry about it any more than the amount that it's already prepared us, we tell this part of our brain, the automatic part, hey, buddy, you were actually wrong.
Yeah.
This public speaking engagement that I'm doing that you've prepared me for and I'm feeling a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Well, that little bit of nerves, that's not enough.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm worrying about it because the only way that that part of our brain communicates, the conscious part, is through what we pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we pay attention to tells the automatic part of our brain what's important.
Yes.
So when we start worrying with all of our attention on this event, guess what happens? That part of our brain, which has already prepared us for it, goes, all right, I'm listening. You're talking to me with your attention. I'm listening.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you a bit more energy.
Yeah.
Here's some more butterflies. Here's some more adrenaline and cortisol. Here you go. Because you're worrying about it, you're obviously not prepared. So the thing is, this whole system isn't designed for that public speaking situation. It's not designed for worrying about what people think of us on the train. That system is designed so that you can run away from a lion.
Yeah.
But we're turning this system on because the way we live now is so different to how we evolved. So what happens is then we get some more nervous energy. So then guess what? We worry even more about it because now we're starting to worry about how we're going to go now that we're this nervous.
Yes.
So then that part of our brain recalibrates again.
Yes.
More nerves, more cortisol, more adrenaline. And that now you have an anxious cycle that is very, very hard to break. And the thing is, we're taught to break it consciously.
Yes.
To consciously work our way through it. But here's the catch.
Yes.
That system, right, has been turned on and now we are in fight or flight. We are well and truly in it. The rational thinking part of our brain is offline. It's gone. Because when you're ready to run away from a tiger, you don't need to think about that. You just need to run or you need to fight. Now, when we are in severe danger like that and that system is turned on, the body's role is to fight, to run. The mind's role is to get us out of that situation. So its role is to find problems and ways out of that situation. So when we're publicly speaking and we're in fight or flight and we're feeling very anxious, consciously working through that is very, very difficult, because when you shut down one thought, another one will pop up. And the reason is, if you're in the middle of the jungle and you looked over here and you knew there was a tiger and it wasn't over there, do you want it to stop looking? No, you want it to keep looking until it finds it. So it's in survival mode. So when you're doing that public speaking, you're just going to keep finding issues. You're going to keep feeling anxious because that system's turned on. And years ago, you would have wanted it to do that. It's the reason that we're sitting here now. So what it's about, dealing with anxiety, this is what I've learned. And I've gone in 7 talks, 6 or 7 talks, I've gone from not being able to publicly speak. So this is with this system. Not being able to publicly speak to, and I'm not by any means a world-class public speaker, but I've gone in 7 talks from not being able to publicly speak. My last public speaking engagement before these talks that I was doing, I was vomiting in the toilets when they called my name out to talk. And I absolutely bombed. To, in 7 sessions, I would say that now I could be classed as a professional speaker.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm not, but I've got a long way to go, and there's, nuances and things that I need to learn. But I would say that I can get up in front of any group of people and I can deliver a message that I want to deliver in a professional manner. That's what I mean by a professional speaker. I'm not fancy. We're not fancy, but we're cheap. But I'm by no means I'm fantastic, but I can professionally speak. I can get up in front of a room and I can deliver a message I want the way I want it without having to think about it. And that's only taken me 7 talks by applying this very process and all the things that I've learned. So I should add that within those 7 talks, learning to run an event, there's been issues along the way. So there's been things that have made it difficult. Room setups, issues with technology, all these types of things that come, lighting and things. There's always something going wrong. And I've been kind of fine tuning my content, I guess. But the thing that I've learned is getting rid of anxiety is about reprogramming that unconscious mind. It's about conditioning. It's not about having these things you can say to yourself when you're feeling anxious. When you're actually in a situation and you're feeling anxious, I'm not sure there's too much you can do in that situation to improve it on that day. But what you can do is do things on that day to allow yourself to be in a better position the next time that situation comes. That's the way I imagine it. It's no different to conditioning your body. And when you're doing a 3-kilometer time trial, you can only do what you can only do on that day. But what you do on that day and the events that follow will determine how you go on the next time trial. So with our anxiety, what we focus on in that situation, when we're going through that event or that thing that's causing us anxiety, what we focus on and how much we worry about it on top of the initial reaction will determine how you react next time. Next time. So what I teach people, what I've been able to do myself, and I just teach people what I've done. It's up to them how they interpret that and how they apply it. But what I teach, what I've done personally is in all of those talks, I haven't been worrying about those talks. I've just been doing them. I've just been doing them. And when I feel like I'm getting a bit anxious, which was happening a lot in the first few, what I would do is use practical applications of mindfulness and being in the present moment to calm me down for a split second. And then I'd go back to the talk. And then if I still felt anxious, I'd just ground myself in something that I'm feeling again. And then back to the talk. And then back to that. And I would kind of float between them. I call it having training wheels on a bike. And when I was feeling anxious, I'd flip over to the training wheel, which is having that ability to ground yourself in something that you're feeling. We have 8 senses. You can choose any of those 8 senses. I call it focusing on brain input not brain output. So output is our thoughts, input is the information that our senses gather. So focus on finding something that's unique for every person, finding something that you can turn to quickly, like the training wheels, and just give yourself a little bit of a balance, and then back to what you're doing. And knowing that you've just got to get through that situation. However you're feeling on that day is how you're feeling. You just need to accept that. But by doing that and proceeding with the situation without worrying about it, you send the opposite signal to what we sent before when we worried about it, to that part of your brain, and it goes, hang on, you're proceeding with this situation and not even worrying about it. It can't be that important. So then guess what? It starts to send less chemicals.
I agree with this so much. I'm so excited about this. I'm so stoked to have this conversation today, because I know even for years for myself, I relied on my brain to tell my body what to do, right?
Yes.
When I experienced brain trauma, it didn't work anymore at all. And so I then had to, and obviously at the time, I wasn't able to walk. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't take care of myself. I was just me and my mind.
Wow.
I couldn't talk on a phone or anything. Nervous system was just, and so just laying there in the dark room with just me and my mind. And I just thought, oh, fuck. And it was going through that experience that all of a sudden I got to change things around for myself, right? And started listening to my body and actually just being present, being okay. And actually realizing that all these, any anxiety or anything that I was feeling, it wasn't going to hurt me.
Yes, that's a big one. Yes. And that's accepting the feeling.
Just
the thing is,
that.
Yes, absolutely. And a good experiment, what's the word for it? A good example for people to kind of test and learn to sit with feelings is road rage, right?
Yes.
Because what happens is when someone pulls out in front of us, or we have to slam the brakes on, or someone does something we don't like on the road, we have this automatic reaction because of our conditioning that's rude or that's dangerous. And we get that flood of, and then we actually aren't even angry at them, we're angry at that. We have to, but what happens is, what I've learned to do is I wait for that feeling and I pay attention to that. And my recovery from anxiety has been about learning to accept those feelings, good and bad. Accept them and learn that I can't do anything about them other than accepting them. And then by doing that, next time it gets better. You see, the thing is, we have this, well, if you look at the way that we live in modern day society, there's all these people out there offering advice and wanting to monetize their advice and the information they tell people. How profitable is it for someone to say, you actually can't do much about your anxiety right now, but if you just go and do and stop thinking, then it'll get better. That's not a very profitable business model.
No.
I tell you what's profitable. Here's an 8-week program.
Yeah.
This is what you need to think, and keep rethinking this, and thoughts become things and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a really great way to make money, just telling people to go out there and do it and not worry about it. So we're
and
getting
not only
into
that, people won't even be able to piece it together anyway, right? They just won't understand it. It's really, self-acceptance is such a huge thing, right? It really is, and self-compassion. And I know, like, people often think that self-compassion is woe is me, but it's not. It's really just like, you know, when those feelings are coming up, just like being able to sit there and know that it's okay, and you can calm yourself down and understanding what's going on, and it's not a big deal. Like, it really is just okay, you know. And being able to do that for yourself is what a gift, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the key is, right now in this moment, if someone's going through something and it's really hard to deal with, I don't know you can do much in that. This is my opinion. I don't, and this is how I've managed to get over my anxiety. So this is from my experience. In that moment, there is nothing you can say that is going to make that feeling go away. You just need to accept it.
Yeah.
Because any additional worry or concern or any additional thought on the matter is only going to make it worse.
Yeah.
And if you accept it, then next time it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then accept it again next time. And that's how you build your way through it. But that's not a really profitable, that's not a really inspirational thing to say to people, is it? Because people want to know right now, what can I do? So people say, think this, do this, that. Yeah. But it's just about having a really long-term view with it.
Yeah.
And thinking, how can I do this over time? Because our minds are no different to our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're no different. Things, you can't have things, I can't get fit right now.
Yeah.
I can't go for a run right now and get fitter right now so that tomorrow I can run a marathon. It's going to take, I'm in training for a marathon. It's going to take me months to get, months to get there. It's the same with our minds, but we forget that. So the reason it is so hard in that moment to stop thinking and start just focusing on what you're feeling is because when we go into fight or flight, as I said before, the mind's role in that is to scan for danger.
Yeah.
So you are effectively telling your mind, don't do what you've done for 300,000 years.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But the thing is, the reason it's doing it is because we're putting it into this fight or flight accidentally. It's not, we're not supposed to be in fight or flight. As human beings, we have two drives. One is to connect.
Yes.
And one is to survive.
Yes.
You cannot coexist.
Yeah.
Cannot coexist. Some people call it love and fear.
Yeah.
And to get out of fear, love pushes fear out and fear pushes love out.
Yeah.
So it's about feeling safe and comfortable and getting into that drive to connect.
Yes.
So you can't be in that drive when you're in fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
So it's about finding ways to calm down. And the thing I'll say about the body, when we talk about the body, you lose some people when you start talking about the body because they think you're talking about this, witchcraft of.
I know. I know.
But here's the thing. It's
like super woo-woo when they just.
That's right. But here is the thing. The body is the way that the subconscious mind, this is the most important statement anybody with anxiety can ever hear. Here it is, in my opinion. The body is the way that the subconscious mind communicates with the conscious mind.
Yeah.
The way that your automatic brain, which stores all of your memories and experiences and is trying to warn you and is trying to help you, it communicates through your body, through hormones and chemicals.
Yes.
So your body is your mind.
Yes.
Your automatic mind, which is way more powerful than your conscious mind.
Yes.
And the thing is, we live now through our conscious mind.
Oh, we do, yes.
This is a new thing. Yeah. We wouldn't, if this conscious mind took over and we lived like this a long, long time ago, I'm not sure where we would be.
Yeah.
Because we didn't used to live like that. That conscious part of our brain is really just around for survival.
Yes.
And to solve problems. It's the reason that we're humans and monkeys are monkeys.
Yeah.
Because of that conscious part of our brain. That conscious part of our brain has never been about being fulfilled and happy.
Yeah.
That comes from feelings.
Yes.
And connection, which comes from our body. We feel the present moment. We experience the present moment through feelings and sensations.
Yeah.
That is all automatic stuff that happens as part of our body. You don't consciously fall in love with someone. That happens automatically.
That's why gratitude feels so good, right? And gratitude, especially when it comes to anxiety as well. Gratitude's just a really nice place to be in that moment, right? Yeah.
But you need to feel safe.
Absolutely.
You need to feel comfortable to be able to be grateful for where you are. And a lot of people that have anxiety struggle. I know, like, I couldn't write a gratitude journal when I was highly anxious.
Oh, God, no.
I was just constantly fearful. I couldn't even sit down to write it. So different strokes for different folks. People that are going through depression, I don't know too much about it, but I imagine that is more pertinent for what they're going through. I just know people with anxiety, it's all about reprogramming that subconscious mind so that we react different ways next time.
Yes.
So that we slowly start to feel better about certain situations, and then that reaction gets less, and then we feel comfortable. So a couple of years ago, I couldn't walk down the street without this intense fear of what people were thinking of me.
Yeah.
Now I can walk down the street fine. That's not a conscious thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, I don't care what he thinks or she thinks. I'm walking down the street. I'm going to be okay. It's not a conscious thing. I've been able to reprogram the subconscious.
Yes.
And now my reaction is different. And therefore, because there is no pain in that reaction,
Yeah.
my conscious mind doesn't start worrying about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to deal with the reprogramming of our reaction to things. And then once we start doing that, the conscious stuff just takes care of itself.
Yes, it's so true. I know for myself especially, I've had depression and anxiety. I know, what it's like, and it's just, and yeah, the biggest lessons for me was really listening to my body, like majorly. That was like something that, as I said before, I had to stop pushing through my mind just telling me, just like, get your shit together, Mandy, rah, 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 but they're all things that I would never say to someone else, right? I would never say that, but you be crueler to yourself, right? And
we're so critical of ourselves.
Expect much more of yourself, right? So, but really just being a lot more gentle with myself and being able to sit with myself and just feel it. And then, having those tools so that I could, I guess, prepare myself when I was in a situation that, I was worried that I could just, lose the plot. In my mind, that's how I felt. You know what I mean? Like I just felt like because I know when I had it, I actually felt like I had lost control totally. And that's what was the scary part of it, because I really didn't know what was going on. I was diagnosed with triple PD. So, basically you probably know what triple PD is. And so basically, you're every day you wake up back in trauma, whatever the event was that caused it. And so, and then obviously you have vertigo and the dizziness and everything that goes with it. So like for me, it was like, okay, I need to let go of all my expectations of just being able to force my way through it and tell myself, don't worry about it anymore. You've got this, affirmations and stuff. I've never really been a big fan of affirmations anyway, but just be able to sit with myself. And I on my phone even now, I have like so many tools that are all to do with the body.
Yep.
On my phone, and anytime it doesn't, I don't have as many issues with it now, but I still keep it on there. And there are times when I can feel it, and I just use those tools because it's right. It gets to, sometimes you feel overwhelmed where you actually just can't. You feel like you can't think of how to even implement those tools. So that's why I have them on my phone.
That's great.
I just put my headphones in, like that. And then I just go, that's right.
Yeah. And it makes you feel safe.
Yeah, that's it. Being able to feel safe is it's so huge.
Absolutely. The way that I was explaining it to my partner the other day. I said, remember when you were a child and you're in a shopping center and there's a scary person walking, and you quickly grab your parent by the hand and walk a bit closer, and it makes you feel safe.
Yes.
Well, for people who get anxiety and struggle in life, when we feel that anxiety come on, we don't have anything to grab.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And we don't, and we feel so unsafe.
Yes.
We feel like we just have no control, and we feel like we have nothing to turn to.
Yes.
And it's this constant worry. So what I explained to her was, by learning how to find these techniques that we can kind of like just calm our bodies down again, turn to our bodies instead of letting these thoughts just run off, turn to something that we're feeling, which is actually just getting into the present moment, because the way that we experience the present moment, as I spoke about before, is through feelings and sensations. The past and the future are experienced through thought, but here and now, right now, is experienced through sensations and feelings. And having something that we can turn to, that we can feel or sense because it's so visceral, can be like grabbing our parent's hand. It allows us something when things are too much, we can grab and just hold on, just that little bit. And then that's what I say to people is this reprogramming is done gradually by doing that.
Yeah.
So we're imagine that situation in the shopping mall is getting comfortable with that person who's scary. We'll be grabbing your parent's hand and then maybe letting go, and then you see him again and you grab it again. And you do that for the 4 trips to the shopping center, and on the 5th trip you realize maybe he or she isn't a scary person. And you feel comfortable. That's exactly the system that I've applied to my anxiety. And the feelings and sensations and the techniques that I use of just feeling something, being able to get out of the thoughts and into what I'm feeling, which sounds a little bit like it's witchcraftery, getting into the body. But like I said before, the body is the subconscious mind. The way we're programming it, the way it's trying to communicate is through that. So by focusing our attention on what we're feeling, we're actually telling the subconscious mind, this thing that I'm doing isn't that scary. I'm okay. Like that, because when we grab our parent's hand, we actually don't think I'm grabbing my parent's hand. We feel safe. We feel that hand, and it makes us feel safe. So by having these tools that we can go to make us feel safe just for a little bit, then we can proceed to go back to what we're doing. And it's about slowly doing that over time. So with my talks, my anxiety starts in my stomach. Like butterflies in my stomach, it churns. So when I started doing the talks, I would feel that. And so I would do a couple of minutes of the talk, and then I would just for a second or two, I would just come back to what I was feeling. Just take me away from the anxiety of the talk. Just feel that a little bit, and then back to the talk. And then back to the anxiety a little bit, just how I'm feeling, and then back to the talk. So that's the technique that I use, and then it's taken time. But keeping in mind, I'm not talking in a meeting at work, which I used to struggle in those settings. My talk has been in front of 50 people who have paid money to come see me talk. So that comes with a different level of anxiety itself. So I've kind of been learning really in the heat of battle. But that is the exact system that I've applied. When I'm doing my talks, having something that I can turn to and ground myself in has in my mind has been like being able to grab my parents' hand when I'm scared. And slowly I've gotten used to it, and now I feel comfortable and I don't have to turn to that. But it's there if I need it. It's there if I need it,
it's very empowering too, to know that you can make yourself feel safe, right? Yes,
absolutely. And it is, I say to people, that journey that you go on, trying to discover what that feeling is for you and what you can turn to. Because in that moment, you just need to get out of your head. You need to get out of it. And I apologize to everybody out there who has spent a lot of money on university studies working through different ways to cognitively deal with this, but it can't be done.
I know. We are taught we have to just get out of our mind. We just have to get out of our mind.
Get out of the mind. You are in that moment, you cannot trust your rational. This isn't for everybody, by the way. This is just for people who struggle with anxiety. I can't tell you why my conscious mind can't be trusted in that moment. But in that moment, I need to get away from it. And I get away from it, and I find something that can make me feel again back into my body. And then that allows me to stop worrying about the event. And then I can reprogram it. So if people say, what's your proof? You know, these things, and I want to say this, make it clear to people. Nobody knows exactly what is going on with mental health issues. These are all theories. It is called a chemical imbalance theory. This system that we have, the medical system, which is designed to help people, which has great intentions. And I have no doubt that it works for a lot of people. Absolutely it does. But it's based on a theory. Based on a theory. And this is my theory from my own life, and it works in my life. So I'm just sharing what works for me.
And for medication for some people is great. It's wonderful. But for me, I've never had good results from it. It's neuroplasticity that's really had the biggest impact on me. With brain traumas. So it started like the score was 0 for like no symptoms, up to 100. When they assessed me, I was 98.
Wow.
And they just said, and I just thought, holy shit, I've got some work ahead of me. Like I was.
Wow, you've done an amazing job.
the only reason that I got the results that I was from the neuroplasticity, and just really helping myself to be super, super safe with myself. And and it took a little bit for me to get it, but I'm so grateful for it. And it's just been the most amazing thing. And so when I saw what you were doing, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. I love his work. I need to get him on a podcast and have a chat to him, because I really want to share that, because I just had a really good feeling about what you were doing. I wasn't sure of the process, but I kind of, from watching your videos and stuff like that, it just seemed like something that really resonated with me. And the process that I used as well. And I just thought, well, this is really good. This is what people need to hear, to kind of change the game a little bit. And especially if medication's not working for them, or other methods that they've used, and they now get to be empowered with these tools that you're sharing, right? To just go, hey, look, you can make yourself feel safe. It's going to take some work, but just have faith in the process, and have faith in yourself that you're powerful enough to do that for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that I also reiterate, which is different things work for different people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to upset the system. There's a lot of people that the system, I call it the system, and I've been through it, didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But that system works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It works for a lot of people, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that stuff doesn't work for. So we need more things, and more, I guess, opportunities for those people to find other things to be able to try, to be able to see whether that works for them. And I'm just a small, really small little branch on the tree that is all these different things that you can go and do. And one of the things I say to, I still firmly believe that the best thing that you could ever do for any mental health issue is go to an ashram in India or Nepal for 3 months.
Yeah.
Go and live with the Buddhist monks.
Yeah.
I still think that would be the best treatment for any mental health issue in the world.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to have that opinion.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the best treatment, but we can't do that at the moment because of COVID.
Yes.
So we have that on one end of the spectrum, and we have, maybe giving people medication on the other. There's heaps of things in between that we need to explore.
Yeah.
We need to explore. And it's great that we have more and more people popping up, sharing what they've learned, and giving people the options to go and test stuff out. So
we all want a quick fix, right? That's the thing. And I think that's why people get frustrated, and why, maybe, some of the tools that we really like and things like that, people go, oh, could it really be that simple? But the thing is that it's simple, but it's got to be consistent, right?
Yes, it's simple, but it's hard.
Yeah.
But most things in life are. If you want to look good, you've got to go to the gym heaps and eat really well. It's simple.
Yeah.
But it's hard. If you want to lose weight, you need to exercise more and eat less. That's very, very simple, but it's very, very hard. So my advice from what I've learned in my life is, if people want to stress less, they need to think less and feel more.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy, is it? I've just been told that this meeting room's booked at 12. Like I said before, I love what you're doing. It's so important, and I wish I had have met you 17 or 18 years ago when I started to struggle, and I thought being a man was just being tough. But being a man now is, in my opinion, is just doing whatever you have to do to be in a good state of mind, so you can enjoy your life with your family, friends, and the communities that you're a part of. So I love that you're helping people to do that.
Thank you. Well, maybe we could do another one on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Fantastic. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll put some links up for you, and just quickly, how do people get hold of you? Yeah.
So I think the best way is probably just to jump onto Instagram at Mr. Anxiety _AUS Oz, or jump on the website www.mranxiety.com.au. And just jump on, have a look. If you ever want to reach out, send me a message. I answer them all. We do live events in Perth, but we're about to announce a webinar for the East Coast
Awesome.
We're looking at doing one of them in America as well. So yeah, we're just trying to share all this info, and hopefully it helps.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for today. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Okay, big hugs. Thank you.
Thanks, Mandy. See you later. Bye.
Later.
Hey, beautiful man. If you're going through stress, need insight, direction to lighten the load, brother, and support during these challenging times, reach out to me. It's no secret that there are so many men suffering at the moment, amazing men, and they're so keen to get help, but don't know what that looks like. So I've created a 6-week one-to-one resilience coaching package for men with one-to-one coaching calls and support via Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp in between calls to help put yourself back in the driver's seat of life. And there's a strong level of trust that goes hand in hand with walking by someone's side during their challenges and their celebrations too. And that's what I'm here for, brother. So message me and let's find your path to true resilience.